Welcome back. South Africa's COVID-19 vaccination program is gaining momentum. The Social Development Department is up next from tomorrow. We're going to speak to the Minister, Lindiwe Zulu, now for us. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Minister. First of all, who exactly does this include? Will, for instance, those who work at the post office also be included in this rollout?
Yes, it includes our entire sector. And so when we talk about our sector, we talk about the frontline people who are servicing under the Department of Social Development. But of course, as you're talking about the post office doesn't necessarily fall under the Department of Social Development, but there is services for grant recipients at post offices. So we've got to make sure that we cover everybody who's within our sector.
How will it work in terms of the social development sector, ma'am? Will the vaccinations happen at some of your sites, or are the employees expected to go to the vaccination sites already identified by the health departments?
Yes, they have to go to the identified vaccination centers, because one of the things that we did not want to do is to expand to a point where both ourselves and the Department of Health, because we must always remember that at the center of the vaccination program is the Department of Health, and that's the reason why we're working very well together with the Acting Minister of Health. Tomorrow, when we go to our fest in Eguruleni, we will be together with the minister so that people can then see the sector. Our sectors, as you know, our sectors is early childhood development. Our sector is all social professional workers. It is the community development practitioners and the frontline staff that also includes our own staff as a Department of Social Development, but our own staff also at Sassa and NDA, because most people still have to go to the offices of Sassa. Hence, unfortunately, as we have indicated it from the very beginning, that we've lost more of the staff members who are at Sassa because of the fact that they are frontliners. They have to serve people at the front.
How will this work, Minister? In terms of registration, will they need to register, or do they just pitch somewhere, perhaps with their ID and employee card?
They have to register because this is an organized sector, and we have where they have to register and inquiries is covidvrp@dsd.gov.za. What is important is that they must make sure that they have their identity document or passport or employee card and practice card or receipt in case of registered practitioners, medical aid card for those who have medical aid, and to ensure that they have an updated cell phone number which must be provided to the healthcare professionals, because I'm sure many people have realized that they do get the SMSs once the registration has been completed, and they are expected to then present themselves at the centers which were identified by the Department of Health. With regard to service centers as both Sassa. So even those centers might be used, but they will not be set up by ourselves. It's all got to be done properly with the Department of Health.
Minister, in terms of the unrest that we've seen, particularly in KZN and Gauteng in the past week, will any services provided by the Social Development Department, your grants, for instance, be affected?
Absolutely. That is why, as I speak to you right now, I am in KZN. We have been meeting with the structures in as far as both the political side of things, because we need to do that. We need to make sure that communities are mobilized, and mobilizing communities really depends on mobilizing the community leaders, because we can come as ministers, but we need to make sure that we are connected to our people to deal with the situation. Secondly, yes, we are affected. As it is this afternoon, I'm visiting some of the offices of Sassa that have been badly affected. I'm also going to visit, because remember that we also have food banks. I also have to visit a place that is a food bank that was also gutted down. We are here because we need to talk about something that we have seen. We are on the ground. I've been here since yesterday. I was in Pietermaritzburg yesterday. I even visited one of the informal settlement that was burnt down. I was really pained. I mean, as a Minister of Social Development, obviously for me, one of the biggest challenges is the well-being of our people, and therefore when you get to a place and you find that the place has been gutted down. But I spoke to the communities there. They were now trying to rebuild their places. So we are here as ministers, as deployed, to go and see for ourselves what is happening. But for me, it's beyond just what is happening. At the center of it all is, what are we going to do about it, both in the short and the long term, being government, being the private sector, and working with our communities.
Will the payments of grants, Minister, be affected in any way? Should the beneficiaries expect any hiccups?
Yes, the payment of the grants will be affected, especially by the pay points that pay in cash, which are not so many. They will be affected, but I think that the normal ones where people go to post offices, where they go to ATMs, those will not be affected, because transference of the money from the Department of Social Development to Sassa is not going to stop. We have to now find another way for those who are going to be affected, because they normally get their money cash. We need to see what we can do working with the companies that normally distribute the money. They will be affected, but we're doing the best that we can to make sure that that doesn't take too long. We need to shorten. And therefore, the stabilization within our communities is of utmost importance to us. The working together with communities to mobilize community themselves to try and help the situation is important. The appreciation even by our communities that we need to stabilize, so that those that get their support from social grants are helped. It's about the stabilization. But lastly, it is about the issue of food and the fact that many of our people are not accessing the food. But I'm sure you'll be aware of the fact that every time there's a disaster, Department of Social Development working together with Sassa, we have what we call SRD, which is the social relief of distress. We are here also to see which of the communities are going to need that social relief, so that we can make sure that Sassa does that distribution, of course, working together with the communities. And may I also just add that part of what we had thought we would do as a department together with Sassa was to say, let's have a hybrid where we give people food parcels where it's necessary, but we also use vouchers. But now with the current situation, even if we gave people vouchers, because there is that problem of accessibility to the shops and all, and Guamashu and other places have really been badly affected. So we are looking at how can we then upscale in terms of the food parcels, and the correct food parcels with the right food in the food parcel.
What took the ministers so long to come onto the ground to speak to community members? It was almost a week before the ministers started to come out to protect some of these stores, and for instance, especially those Sassa offices.
Look, we must also not make the mistake of thinking that the arrival of ministers is the thing that needs to happen faster than the local and provincial leadership. You must also recall that as ministers, I am a Minister of Social Development, and I am responsible for the entire 9 provinces at a national level. But when all is said and done, it's about how I work with my MECs and make sure that my MECs are available, and make sure that the local structures are also available. Because as a nation, we need to also appreciate the strengthening of our local government, ensuring that the most immediate service that people need will be at a provincial level. So I can tell you quite frankly from my side, my MEC Khoza and I have been in contact with each other throughout. Even this morning we spoke. She's been having programs going, crisscrossing the areas where the disaster and the looting and everything happened. And also we cannot work in isolation, because the minute we work in isolation, we work in silos. And when we work in silos, we cannot be effective for our people. So I am confident that our communication and our connection together with other MECs, I mean, I'm here in KZN, for instance, because even yesterday we already were deployed with other ministers of the security cluster. And I'm also saying that the task that we have in front of us is not just a security matter. It is also a matter of us as government, in the three spheres of government, being conscious of the challenges that our people face. That is poverty, hunger, unemployment, and inequality. We all need to pull our resources together and make sure that even in the future, that's where we need to focus on, because when people have got nothing to lose, they end up being abused by others. When people have got something to lose, they will definitely get out. The other day, and I was there with them, people that were protecting the mall. I know that pen, of course, was destroyed. That's where I started. And the other mall in Alex was better protected because people felt like, you know, we also are part of this ownership here. We have to defend it. So going forward, it's poverty, unemployment, inequality, and the fact that many people just they have nothing. And therefore, they sometimes will not act as quick as it possibly can. That's what we need to deal with. Short-term solutions, long-term solutions. That's what we need right now. And not just about government alone. All of us need to come together and make sure that we make our country work, holding hands and working together.
Minister, while we're on that topic about Alexandra, for the sake of peace, Mazulu, I just want to ask you, a lot of people have been wondering why you ran away from my colleague Lindiwe Zulu when you were at the Alex Mall. I don't know if you remember, she tried to ask you a question and you shut the door of your protection vehicle in her face. Maybe if you could just explain to us.
Because I had to go. Yes, let's make peace with that. The one statement that I would like to make, not only to yourselves, I don't run away from anybody in the media. I always avail myself. I had been there for quite a while and I was already running late and I needed to go. But also there were the other interviews that were being done with defense that were there. And also there were other people that were being interviewed there. I was already running late and I couldn't afford to be late, and so I had to go. Let me make it clear and straight. I do not run away from interviews because I don't understand why I would run away, unless in a situation where I don't have the necessary information. I might also nicely just say, excuse me, I'm very sorry, I don't have the details, please come back to me. So can I just request that we be at peace with this one, because I am one that understands the information importance. I am a former journalist myself by profession, and I understand your job and I protect your job with the best thing that I can. I do believe in the work that you guys do, so I wouldn't do that.
All right. Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu, thank you very much for your time. She explained there, and I think I will definitely show my colleagues Lindiwe Zulu that explanation from the minister. She says she ran out of time.